All right, it's time for this week's Shot Clock. It's where myself and Kieran Donaghy go through the big stories of the week. We get 2 minutes, a hooter sound. We keep talking. We probably break the rules more often than we're supposed to. But it's an opportunity for us.
2 minutes,
Exactly. It's an opportunity for us here to parse the big stories of the week and to get some strong opinions aired on them. I'm going to start with a gentle introduction this week. We're starting by Chelsea, Maurizio Sarri. The era is over. Frank Lampard, the talks are nearly finished. The amount of money that Frank Lampard is getting paid is being leaked. You are a Chelsea fan, Kieran. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
I'll miss Sarri because I loved his story. I loved the journey that he went on. I loved that his style of play in his previous club was kind of famous. So I was like, good, we're going to get somebody that's going to come in and implement something and that we're going to stick by him. So I was all happy about that. The fact that he worked in a bank like myself and then went on to win a European Cup last year, I liked all that. And I wish we stuck with him. But look, as it goes, I think Lampard is a good fit right now because we know we can't spend in the transfer window. We can't. He's a hero at the club, obviously. There's no real pressure on him. He'll get a break from the fans because they'll... What's the expectation of Chelsea next year? We're not going to win the league. You look now, it's Man City, Liverpool, and then there's everybody else. So there's no real pressure. He's lost his best player. So I think if there's time to bring in someone like a Lampard, probably with a Jody Morris who's come in, who was with Chelsea underage all the way, so he'll know all them young players. He'll know the 40 players that are out on loan, the Batshuayis, the Babiokos. You know, the previous manager didn't get anything out of them, but maybe Frank will. He might see a different avenue for these guys. So I think you bring all them guys back. You bring back Tammy Abraham from Villa. You see what you can get out of him. And I think Lampard, with a bit of time, might be able to kind of make his influence in that Chelsea team. And you know, he obviously gets on well with Abramovich, and he knows that the worst case scenario is he's not going to do great and get fired. I
think the most important thing there is the getting on well with Abramovich, because if you don't, and you're a new manager and you come in with a big reputation, like Sarri did come in with a big reputation, and you don't immediately win the players over, then the countdown starts straight away. With Lampard, if there are players who you don't win over, you can burn them out, and Abramovich is going to have your back because you've delivered for Abramovich from the get-go, from the very start. You're the link with when Abramovich was at his very happiest at Chelsea, when he was just coming in, spending his money and disrupting the entire league.
And I think he felt the pressure, Sarri. Like, I think he didn't jump ship, but I think he very much kind of didn't feel that love and support last year from a lot of the fans in the stadium, let's call a spade, and maybe Mr. Abramovich. And then the Juve job was opening up, and I'd say he kind of pushed his way out. And you can't blame him because he probably knew
he was getting fired anyway.
He was going to probably get fired.
Totally, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, Chelsea have had Mohamed Salah on their books and not really known what they had. They had Kevin De Bruyne on their books and not really knowing what they had. So there's a good chance that there is somebody at that level that they already have. Yeah. And is not getting a look in because various managers have churned through. So if Lampard is the right person and if he understands the club properly, and the word to Shay Given as well, part of this, that's a meteoric rise for Shay from
it's brilliant. Yeah, I'm delighted.
Back in Dublin bus to Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next up is obviously the Kerry defence has taken a bit of flack and a bit of stick from the media side of it, and probably within their own setup as well because of the performance last week. I think it's slightly unfair on them because I think it's our setup, Jar. I think we're pushed up, we're going for the kill too early, we're letting guys out past us. Once they get out past us, they're going up through the middle of the field, and it's open sesame, and the backs are really kind of chasing shadows at that stage. And I think what we have to do is our forwards have to start pushing teams down the sideline, actually show them the sideline, give them the sideline, bait them into running down, very much like Dublin were doing against Meath the last day. They wouldn't go for the tackle. There was areas of the field where they did not go for the kill, to get pressure further out the field where they could go for the kill. Whereas I think we are so obsessed with trying to prove that, you know, we're tackling up front and we're working hard, that we're sometimes going for the kill and letting teams out past us, and I think that's struggling.
Okay, so explain that. It's not the tackle technique is wrong, it's that the person trying to affect the tackle is doing it in the wrong part of the pitch. Yeah,
it's the area of the field you're tackling in. So, you know, I think if you've got a corner back and you're a corner forward, your job is he's after getting a shot kick out. I have to go tackle him. I have to take it off him. So I run straight at him. But if he gets out past me, especially if he gets out past me this way, it opens everything up, because I'm dead man walking, and the full forward is going to have to get me, and then the full back is free, and then they're out, and all the forwards are doing all this mad work over and back.
And it's a chain reaction.
Correct. So if I go over to this cornerback and I say to him, I'm going to stand literally level with you and give you the line and get in the foot race up the line with you, which is, you're using the sideline as your friend. You're using the fact that you have a cornerback running straight up the pitch, soloing the ball in the sideline. You take away his options up the line. So up the line, everybody's really tight. So when this cornerback is coming up the line, everybody's really tight. And on the other side of the field, you can drop in and you can switch. But what Kerry were doing the last day was going for the tackle to try and get the turnover, because they've obviously worked hard in their tackle, and probably under Donaghy, Buckley and Tommy Griffin, they've gone working at their tackling. So they want to show them guys all this training we've been doing over the last few months. So I feel like they win for the kill sometimes in the wrong area, and it's only a small little tweak. Okay, lads, where do we want to be actually setting up our tackle zone? And if this corner forward runs over and pushes that corner back all the way up the line, the full forward isn't working that hard. He's saving legs, he's saving energy. That's probably David Clifford or Paul Ganey. So that's great. You want them saving energy. So what you really have is you've one forward doing a lot of work, where the other few inside forwards are getting a bit of a break. Whereas what's happening now is, I'm going for the kill, pass it across, full forward has to tackle, he goes out to the other corner, we all run over, then he gets reversed back over. If that happens 2 or 3 times, you've your whole full forward line out to the 45 after doing a rake of tackling, but not really getting any just reward for it. So I think it's only a small little tweak, but I think it's something we have to look at going forward.
Was the tackle technique good enough though? Because that was something that Aidan O'Rourke had pointed out as far back as the springtime, after the Mayo game in particular. He said that Mayo defenders were being tackled by Kerry lads, but they were brushing past the tackle. So that's a double whammy. The tackle technique isn't good enough, and you've tried to tackle too early in the pitch. So that all of a sudden it is that.
I think the tackle technique is massively improved, and your chances are massively improved if you're doing it in the right areas. You know, no matter how good of a tackler you are, if you run at a guy and he's after soloing the ball as he's coming to you, well, he's got 4 or 5 steps. If he's a small fella, 6 or 7 steps, a bounce, and another 6 or 7. Do you know what I mean? So no matter how good of a tackler you are, you can't do much with that.
Yeah.
It's timing. He's hopped it now, so he has to solo next, so I'm going to get a hand in now when he tries to solo, and I'm going to push him up the line. And that's just a small little tweak that I think Kerry could look at.
One other thing that he pointed out that day was that you can run straight at the heart of the Kerry defence, and you actually aren't going to meet anybody of significance. Is this where injury is causing difficulty for Kerry, or is that they just haven't got a defensive structure and style in place yet?
I think that's because teams are coming out the middle of the field. So when you're out the middle of the field, you can run at the heart of the defence, whereas if you're being pushed to the sideline all the time, and you're guarding fellas, if I'm marking a guy in basketball and he's coming down the middle of the court, my first job is to try and get him out of the middle of the floor. Because if he's in the middle, it's very hard to defend. These options everywhere. Whereas if you get him going towards the sideline, that sideline now becomes your help. And it's easier, you know he can only go so many ways, whereas when a fella's coming straight at you in the middle, it's a hard one to stop.
But traditionally, the thing to do when a fella's coming straight at you in GAA is to stick your shoulder out and wait there and brace.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you shuffle people to one side or the other? What's the, like...
They work in that. That's what I'm saying. You see, you can only shuffle someone towards the sideline if you're comfortable in the fact that your backroom staff or your manager has told you that, you know, because I think they feel like they have to tackle to try and prove that their tackling has been worked on, because they have worked on it, and we saw them very well set up in league games, but league is on wet ground, bad ground. This is now summertime, Parky Queeves, your Croke Park, your Fitzgerald stadiums. So this is where it becomes a bit harder to turn people over, especially on dry sunny days.
Yeah, because the pace is so intense for that one as well.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the other big story in GAA land this week. This is Andy McEntee having a lash at the Meath Chronicle journalist. If anybody's missed this story, then where the hell have you been for the last 24 hours? But a quick recap. After the game in the huddle, the Meath Chronicle journalist asked Andy McEntee what the crack is with the hurlers and whether or not they're going to be released back to their clubs. Andy McEntee says that's a stupid effing question, I'm not going to answer it. And then afterwards, the Meath Chronicle players at the bus talking to some of the Meath players, and he's chatting away to them, and Andy McEntee makes a point of coming over to say to him, I'll take the effing head off you if I effing see you near the dressing room again. Kieran, what needs to happen here?
It's petty, I think, really. the question, he's a Meath journalist and maybe he's a selector or he's someone who's involved in some hurling team that he's going to ask that question. It's a bad timing for that question, Joe. I know, right, you're a journalist, that's fine. There's time and a place, I think, for that type of question. And do the whole media room, does he really need to find out right there and then off the Meath manager who's after losing his Leinster final? Can players play in a club hurling game next week? It's a bad question, it's bad timing of it. No, hear me out. I think it's bad question, it's bad timing. Could Andy McEntee's held his tongue and reacted better? Of course, but he comes out and he sees the same guy that's asked that stupid question, which he thinks is a ridiculous question because he said that. Now he sees him talking to a few of his players. He's like, what questions is he asking these guys? Is he asking them about, can hurlers play? Are they going to give an answer that's going to get it? And them looking for an apology and it even getting out that far. This should have been nipped in the bud straight away.
By who?
By Andy McEntee, probably.
By doing what?
Probably calling him and kind of afterwards and kind of having it out with him like
so that. And that was the thing to do.
But it was reactionary though. It's like something hit you a box in a game.
But there's a big difference, right? So the reactionary one, I think everybody would have forgiven him because that came out in the papers, because that was in front of all of the media, and they were all like, "Look, I mean, okay, so that's fair enough." The second one isn't reactionary. The second one is like everybody's had showers, they've calmed down, they've got on the bus, and it's afterwards, and you make a point of going over to see somebody and going, and that's the bit it's like you're not in control.
Yeah, I know, but it's still reactionary from him even then. He's come out, he's open, I know what the story, you open that double doors out of the dressing room, you're after coming out, you're probably after trying to figure out what you're going to train Tuesday night, what we're going to do, let them out tonight, let them blow off a bit of steam, they'll need to, they're all that plans. Then he opens the door, he's the same guy. It's not like, there's your man. You asked a stupid question 15 minutes ago. You're fine now. It's bang, he sees him talking to the players. It's a bang, it's another reaction.
He is literally doing his job when he's talking to the players.
I know he's doing his job. But
and he's entitled to do his job.
But you can say that the manager's doing his job by protecting his players. We saw the famous Alex Ferguson one. Your man John Watson went at Roy Keane and Ferguson jumped down his throat because he was protecting his player. So, yeah, you're going to take it from the journalist side. I'm going to take it from... possibly, if I'm ever in that position, that I might handle it slightly better. But I can see at that moment in time, I can just sit there. If someone said that to me, will the Kerry hurlers be allowed playing? will fellas be able to play club football? Or that crossover question right there is was he looking for a reaction? Did he know that he'd strike a card with McEntee? Did he know he'd get a reaction?
Apparently it's been an issue. Apparently this has been an issue that if you're going to go and play for, there's suggestions that if you're going to go and play for the hurlers, then you won't really be welcome back in that in that Meath change room. So look, that's local GA politics, right?
Yeah.
And if you're the manager of the inter-county team, you know this. And you've probably expected this question at some point. So you deal with that and you've dealt with it badly. The second, when you're layering on the dealing with that and taking on somebody who has his microphone out because you can see it, or his recording device, he's talking to players, the audio of this exists somewhere.
I know.
And that's going to come out.
I know.
And I'm amazed the Meath Chronicle have not already put this out, because that would, I'm sure they're waiting for Andy McEntee to say, look, hands up, it was a stupid mistake. Won't happen again. Come down to training. We'll all be friends. I respect that you're doing a job. I have a job to do. It was tense. It was bad. I apologise. And that's it. That would have been the end of it. Instead, there's silence from Meath. And the story rumbles on, and we're all talking about it. It's in the papers again today.
Yeah.
Handle it. Handle your business. Meath PRO, Meath County Board, handle your business. Tell Andy McEntee what to do. And Andy McEntee, handle your business.
Yeah.
Because I think... after Tyrone last year, right, when
he
completely lost the head.
Again, yeah, but he's obviously a very fiery character. We're talking about taking characters out of the game now. We don't want all robots.
But it's true. But we don't.
That's his feelings. He felt very frustrated after the game, and fine for you to say, hold on a minute, Andy, relax. You're after losing your knockout game. The referee made a few mistakes.
Threaten somebody for doing their job. You can't. It comes down to, I'll fucking take your head off, right?
I know.
He's a big lad.
I know, and he'll know that that's wrong. He'll know that he went too far, but I'm still saying my point.
Apologise, that's all.
My point is, it's still a reaction. It's when he opened the doors to that bus, you think that because it's a half an hour later he should have calmed down, he should realise there's journalists talking to his players. What I think is he opened that door and saw red again straight away, and obviously what he said was wrong.
Somebody needs to manage the anger there, if that's if it's still boiling like
maybe
that.
Anger management.
Yeah. All right.
Look, the next topic we have is the Dublin funding issue. Look, my 2 points in it. One, it has obviously nothing to do with this current crop of Dublin players, probably the best team of all time. They have the funding to them. What has gone on means no difference. This is a team that has come along, that have gelled together, that have an unbelievable bunch of athletes, great footballers, unbelievable managers in Pat Gilroy and Jim Gavin, and great backroom teams. That money is obviously coming from probably sponsorship money, but the money that the funding that is out there is not relating to Dublin's success at senior level. If it was relating to success, they'd have won the last 7 or 8 minor championships, under 20s, whatever. That would be a direct correlation between that. The second thing would be, I heard someone once say about maybe pooling all these sponsorships to get them together so we can kind of help other teams around that are maybe have a hotel giving them 30 grand when you have AIG giving Dublin 1.5 million or whatever it is. So putting them together, they do it in the NFL, but obviously the NFL don't have their sponsors across the front of the jerseys.
So the NFL shares absolutely everything, every jersey sold, with the exception of the Dallas Cowboys, because they keep all that money. But if you buy a 49ers jersey, if you buy a Cleveland Browns jersey, all of that revenue is pooled centrally, and at the end of the year it gets divvied out. Likewise, all the TV deals get divvied out. You can make some money in your own stadiums.
Okay.
You get your own, I think you get your own attendance, but that's the only thing. Maybe you only get the concessions at your ground. Maybe even attendances are shared. So everything is shared because they appreciate that some of the markets are bigger than others, and for competitive reasons they want everybody to have the same access to competition.
That's kind of what we want here too, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So
on the competitive side,
you could absolutely do that, and if you were to do that properly, you'd be talking about not letting O'Neill's have the single monopoly which they have, apart from like 1 or 2 teams who have Azuri on the shirt. So suddenly you have Nike do 5 shirts, Adidas do 5 shirts, Puma do 5 shirts, and O'Neill do 5 shirts, 5 county shirts, and all the money is pooled. So it doesn't matter if you've got Cork or the Dubs one year, you'll get them again at some point in the future.
Yes.
You could absolutely do that and boost the money up. Everybody could have one sponsor across their jerseys for the 33 teams, and all that money gets pooled. So you could have a massive deal with somebody if you wanted to, or you could have 5 of those deals, and it doesn't matter again who you get, because you're going to get equal access. I think the one thing that this has thrown up is that we don't know where the money goes in the GAA, really. The accounts are not as opaque as they should be for an amateur volunteer organisation, even though we hear so much about that. I would agree with you that the money that is being spent on the coaching is going to coaching, and it's clear that that's going to coaching, and you can see that when you go to any of the Dublin GAA clubs. The number of kids who are there and the number of coaches is a direct impact on the kids being coached in schools by the GPOs. I'm not sure that I agree with the fact that you can't correlate underage success. The underage success will come. So they now have 40 minors who are inter-county standard, and 40 under 17s, and 40 under 16, 17, 18, 19. They'll have strength and depth in those numbers, and they might not be great at picking out which ones are just. But when it gets to senior,
they will get their players through.
Exactly. So the Fenton not making it as an under 21, that's a kind of famous story. And those teams get beaten in one-off games in underage, but they've industrialised the process of getting the best players through. So this will have a knock-on impact. The greatest team of all time that they have now might come down a level or 2, but it'll still be
they'll still be always competitive, but they are a juggernaut now. Dublin GAA is a juggernaut, so whatever the funding is and whatever it was can be kind of I think they can definitely hold back and start spreading out the money elsewhere, because of number one, players wise in Dublin, what this current Dublin team are doing, they don't even know it now, probably this bunch of players, but it's inspiring so many kids all around Dublin. So really, if there was no coaches, kids would be still landing down with their Dublin jerseys on, and if there was 100 of them and one coach, they'd be delighted because they're playing and they think they're going to be a Dublin footballer or a camogie player or a hurler or whatever down the line. So they have to start kind of evening it out big time, and even going the opposite way, because Dublin is self-sufficient, I think, right now, just with how good they're doing and how good they are going to do, and the sponsorship and the money and the jerseys. Like, how many jerseys are they selling? How many bits of gear are they selling? And
so here's the thing: you either allow the way the funding is currently working to continue, but you need to redistribute the sponsorship deals that they're getting to everybody else, or you decide that you're going to make the sponsorship deals that they're getting pay for their coaching. As it stands at the minute, they've got this money that they can ring fence for the senior inter-county team, which does have an impact. The best strength and conditioning. the best backroom teams. They're kind of one-to-one that you need.
I know, I just don't want to take away from how good that this current crop of players are. And you'll get these players together, they'll go along and they'll do something special, which they've done. And then Dublin will come back a small bit to the field, and somebody else will come. Maybe it's Kerry with all these young fellas in 4 or 5 years we're talking about. But the splitting Dublin up, the blaming the money is just bothering me, because I think it's taken. I heard I was watching your paper review, and McManaman, and he's right. We're actually giving them something to.
I know, it's mad.
We're giving them something to kind of go, we'll get the 5 in a row, we'll prove them all wrong.
They're the chippiest 4 in a row team of all time.
But they are, but you have to always look for an edge. Yeah. That's the edge they're going to. Even when we were really successful around with Kerry, we were always looking for just someone to say something. Because you hear that, we'd start talking to each other about it, and it'd just become another thing that would drive us another small bit. So yeah,
it's fair enough. We got to move on to the NBA. You backed the right horse. You were picking Giannis as the player of the year. He was player of the year.
Yeah, he was player of the year without a doubt. Giannis, and to be quite honest, he would have got defensive player of the year as well, but they probably couldn't give him 2 awards. So Gobert got that. Sixth man was Lou Williams, 100% a walking bucket. He'd be a starter on most teams. And Siakam was the most improved, and you can't be going wrong with that. Another few things going on in the NBA and basketball. They're exploring cutting the season. Hallelujah, 82 games, too much, too many dead rubbers, too many games where, you know, we're just not getting the best bang for our buck. They're on about cutting it down to 62 games. So that's something, or maybe 72, they're the 2 brackets, because I think it's 72. You play everybody 3 times and play everybody in a non-conference twice, so you're going away, you know, less. So there's less travel and all that. But yeah, I know it's interesting that they're going to do that. They're going to look for it in 3 years' time, because I think they have so many deals and stuff they can't do it now. But in 2022, I think they're going to come in with this and try it. Some of the transfer rumours on about Kemba is looking at going to the Celtics. He's going to be the Celtics and Lakers, I think, are going to go for him, because he's an unbelievable player. He's not quite Kyrie, but I think he'll actually be possibly a better fit for the Celtics.
Kevin Durant opted out of his contract last night.
He opted out of it. He was always going to do that, because he's getting 31 million if he stays next year injured, whereas he opts out now. And do the Warriors want him? And if they want him for 5 years, and he gets 180 million or whatever he gets. So he's opted out to kind of open up everybody and really find out who really wants him for the long haul. Probably the Achilles is a big factor in that, because he's a small bit of a gamble now, and a guy that's 7 foot, and that runs and jumps around the place like he does. But as I said on the shot clock a few weeks ago, he's not that kind of explosive LeBron. He doesn't really use I think he's very crafty basketballer. And the other big transfer one is Jimmy Butler from the Sixers going to the Rockets, and the Rockets giving them Clint Capella, who's their big man, who James Harden loves throwing the alley-oops to, PJ Tucker, who's a kind of a journeyman, tough guy on defence, and Eric Gordon, who was very good last year for the Rockets. So that'll be an interesting one to see how that plays out. But yeah, we're getting into the kind of very interesting time now in free agency.
The transfer season is one of the best NBA seasons, it turns out. Let's move on, because we want to talk to James Sugrue, who is basking in the glory of a place in the 2020 Masters and the US Open, having won the Amateur Open Championship in Portmarnock at the weekend. This is an amazing story.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Huge kind of excitement. I heard I think it was the captain of the golf club talking on radio last week, and yeah, he was welling up with tears and everything, because he was up there and he'd followed him around and he'd gone on the journey with James, and yeah, just the excitement of, you know, the winning it, and obviously what comes afterwards is hugely exciting.
James, good morning to you.
Hi Joe, how are you?
How's it going?
Yeah, very well now.
Has all this sunk in just yet?
Yeah, I suppose it has really. It's just still, I don't think I'll really kind of believe it until I do go up to Portrush and get to tee it up in the Open. You know, it's just kind of hard. It sounds a bit strange to say it even.
James, how's it going, man? Well done.
Hi, Kieran, how are you?
Not too bad, buddy. Well done. Just, what's it like to kind of win under that type of pressure? And what I mean by that is the match, obviously, and to win it with everybody around you and following you, but then to know, obviously you know while the match is going on, you probably try not to think about it, but all these things that open up, the Open, playing in Augusta next year, the US Open, all them stuff that come with it. How were you coping with that pressure as the match was going on, or did you even think about it, or did it creep in at any time?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really think about it at all. The only time I did think about it was probably the night before the final, when I was lying in bed. I just kind of was like, geez, if I have a good day tomorrow, I'll be teeing it up in Augusta next year. So I was just trying to keep that out of my mind, to be honest. It was obviously kind of hard enough to not think about it when you're just lying in bed looking at the ceiling, but yeah, while I was actually playing, I wasn't thinking about it, to be honest.
When was the first time you came across golf?
I suppose when I was my auntie's husband kind of took me out when I was like 10. They lived pretty close to the driving range, so he would have kind of been the first person to take me out. I way preferred hurling and football up until I was about maybe 14 or 15. I remember we had this like Cork tournament and it didn't go great, and then my golf coach kind of said that it's kind of one or the other, and I just said, I'll give the golf a shot, and thankfully I did know. And
you know the way when you played hurling and football and you're having a bad day at training, you're having a bad day in a game, and a teammate will pull you out of it, or a teammate will get a goal in the last minute to make up for your mistake. How lonely is it doing all the practice in golf, and does that get hard when you don't have someone there, when you're hitting a bad shot after bad shot and you don't have someone there to pull you away? How lonely is a driving range at that time when you're trying to get as good as you can be?
Yeah, like it isn't the best place in the world when you're in that kind of a situation, but I suppose it's important to have good coaches and good people around you, and they'll tell you what to do. And people, especially people that have been there already, people that that have been pro or have played golf at a very high level, they'll kind of know, for example, if that happened to me, I obviously wouldn't be the first person to be in that situation. There's plenty of people that was before me, and just people with experience telling you what to do and what not to do is a big help, really.
When in the process of the practicing and all the hours of commitment that you put in, when in that journey did you actually say to yourself, I'd like to become a pro at this, I'd like to tee it up with Tiger and Rory and all these guys? When did that come into your head? At what stage did that dream start filtering in?
I suppose when I kind of, a few years ago really, when I started playing kind of with international players and then seeing them to go on to do good things, and then playing like home internationals in, I can't remember what every year it was, when I was like about 16 or so, with like Matt Fitzpatrick and them, and then only a couple of years ago playing with like Robert McEntee's and all these lads that I would have kind of known, and now they're on tour. So I'm kind of like, there isn't. It's kind of a strange game in that sense where, you need a break, obviously, and if you take advantage of the break, then anything is possible.
Well, so you've got the break now, just take advantage of it. Go win the open there in 3 or 4 weeks' time.
Exactly. That would be nice, alright.
What was the homecoming like in Mallow?
Yeah, geez, it was a bit mad, right?
How many days did it last?
I went in about 3 or 4 days anyway.
3 or 4 days, Joe. That's a good county final or an All-Ireland win there, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. But it was mad. To be fair to them, we didn't get home to Mallow until 12 o'clock that night. And the bar was still absolutely packed. People waiting for me down the stairs.
Don't get the bar in trouble, no.
There was no drink being served.
No, there wasn't. No. You're all sitting around having chats.
We're all sitting around having my wad, yeah. But yeah, it was unbelievable. I don't believe there was a fierce crowd there, and there was a fierce crowd that travelled up as well.
Yeah, that must have been big. That must have been big for you, James, with the amount of people, because that's one thing I heard. That man, I can't think of his name now, talk about was the amount of people.
John O'Keefe.
That's right. Yeah. Because we talk about here, myself and Gerard and SHOTCLOCK all the time, about the home advantage and how vital it is in the GA, and that sometimes it's underplayed, whereas in American sports it's huge, obviously. But you had home advantage last week. What was it worth to you? Where, did it get you out of trouble at times? Did it spur you on at times?
Yeah, definitely. Even the lads from Portmarnock Golf Club that I know, and even lads that I didn't know, before the week started, and now I know them. You know, they all like there were so many of them. I don't know. There was a few numbers being thrown around, like 3,000 or 4,000 or something. You know, watching. So there was a huge number of people out there, and it only felt like freaking 99% of them were following me. You know, it was even especially there was this one elderly man, and his name was Eric O'Brien, and he followed me for the 2 practice days, and he followed me for every single day. He followed me for every single hole, and I don't want to say what age he is, but he was old enough, you know, and I just thought it was unreal. Like, I've never met the man before in my life, and he followed me for every single day. I just thought it was very nice of him, and it was just unbelievable.
You'd have to give him tickets for Port Rush and say, and bring him again. He might be a good luck omen, a good luck charm for you.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he was there anyway after the week, because he really was very good, to be fair to him.
Yeah. Look, listen, James, congrats and everything. Now, before you go, I want to put you into the washer. This is a very simple, fun quiz at the end of it. The famous Ogie Moran, the Kerry footballer, does this to people at weddings, and it's called Ogie's Washer. Basically, when you're half steamed, he puts you in there and asks you a lot of questions, and you just answer with your selection, okay? So I'm going to give you 2 names, and you pick your best ones, rapid fire, 12 questions. It'll be a piece of cake for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I will.
Christy Ring or Jimmy Barry Murphy?
Christy Ring.
Sean Og or Brian Corcoran?
Brian Corcoran.
Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus?
Tiger Woods.
Augusta or St Andrews?
Augusta.
Titleist Pro V or any other ball?
Titleist Pro V.
Links or Parkland?
Links.
Roy Keane or Robbie Keane?
Or Roy Keane.
Katie Taylor or Conor McGregor?
Katie Taylor.
Brian O'Driscoll, Paul O'Connell?
Paul O'Connell.
Ron O'Gara, Johnny Sexton?
Ron O'Gara.
Bill Clinton or Barack Obama?
Bill Clinton. Michael
Jordan or LeBron James?
LeBron.
Oh, Fergal's going to kill you for that.
I thought that one was a bit risky, alright, but I said I'd go.
Fergal O'Sullivan, my Warriors teammate, and Darren O'Sullivan, the Warriors captain, would have played a good bit of golf with James, so they gave me the lowdown on that. Look, listen, James, thanks very much for jumping on Shot Clock, and really do wish you the best of luck. And we might even try and get you in maybe before or after the Open or the Augusta, or one of them.
Yeah, no problem, lad, Kieran, anytime.
Fair play, James. Best of luck, man.
Congratulations, James. Good stuff. That's a life-changing event, because you get to play the Open this year, and then there's the Masters and the US Open next year.
So just imagine driving up Magnolia Lane.
And playing it.
That's what I'm trying to get, the actual buzz of getting up there, kind of going, Jesus, I'm going to be playing it. We've played. I'm sure James, like myself, is worn out from playing Tiger Woods. I nearly know I could caddy for someone. I could caddy for a pro in Augusta.
Are you volunteering there?
I've played James, if you're stuck in Augusta, I've played a rake of it in Tiger Woods golf. I know every read, I know every putt. I was getting so good at Tiger Woods golf, I used to take off the grid that I'd read the greens, hills and things, and I'd be trying to. But then it'd all be all going great. I'd be 2 under, really hard to do it, and then I'd have a horror show on one of the greens and kind of end up firing the remote off the wall.
Anger management issues in back.
It's a good job there wasn't the Mead reporter asking me about stuff there.
Predictions this week. We're going to start with the Munster hurling final. Who have you got?
I've got Limerick. And I just think Limerick have been tipping along. I think Bonner-Maher is a huge loss for Tipperary, and I think Limerick have been kind of humming along, and I think this is where they really stamp their authority on the country and kind of say, yeah, we're the best team in the land and you're going to have to try and come beat us. I
think it's a straightforward win for Tipperary. Ooh. I think the Tipperary up the ante significantly this week. And
all right. Push
out to everybody that the shadow boxing. When you named your fake team, Limerick, we knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And we didn't go full bore. Now, granted,
are we having a score on it?
Carl Barrett and...
are we having a score? 20 euros?
I think a 5-6 point win for Tip.
We'll have 20 euros and the result.
Okay.
That'll be handover next week in SHOTCLOCK. What's next? Mayo and Armagh, Ger?
Mayo and Armagh.
Yeah, I know.
Dermot O'Connor gone.
I know. Armagh have loads of momentum.
I'm going to go for Armagh.
Go on, be brave.
I'm going to go for Armagh.
Yeah. And on my notes, I've Armagh by a point, but the Mayo people would kill me because I picked Roscommon the last time we were up there as well.
You stick with that one, I'll change to Mayo if you want. No, I'm going to stick with Armagh.
Yeah, I think Mayo, even far, because he broke his hand or wrist, and we don't know how severe the injury is. He's 8 weeks, and I think I don't know him personally, but just knowing him as an athlete out in the pitch, Diarmuid O'Connor will play with a cast on and a few injections. So they could kind of have the goal now, they could have that carrot to get their captain to a final. Sometimes them things work, sometimes they don't. But in Castlebar, without them, I think the Mayo crowd will be massive, and it might just get them over the line. It'll actually be a belter. I'd like to say a draw, but sure, it can't be a draw because it's going to go to extra time and penalties.
Could be draw after extra time. If it goes to extra time, then that prediction of a draw is correct.
Okay.
We'll take that one. And then Kildare against Tyrone, Newbridge or nowhere, it's Newbridge. I have that weird, stupid confidence that sports fans get before a game. I was concerned about the Antrim game. Kildare came out and blitzed Antrim. It was never even a contest.
Yeah.
And
confident?
No, it's the confidence of the insane.
Oh yeah.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense that Kildare would beat Tyrone at this stage. Like Tyrone came in a league game, was it last year? Whenever it was, Kildare doing really well up to like 69 minutes, and then Tyrone just.
But it would have made no sense for them to beat Mayo down there really last year either.
No, they didn't. Although there was that weird thing that happened that week that everybody got galvanised.
Yeah.
And they had Daniel Flynn, and there's no Daniel Flynn this year.
Yeah, he's a big lass. Yeah, no, I was iffy. I was kind of in the middle during the week, but I think I've gone with Tyrone by 3 or 4.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I do. I think they're in a. I think they got badly stung, and it would have hurt them in All-Ireland finalists last year, getting beaten the way they did by Donegal, and there would have been some hard truths in that dressing room afterwards. And I think they'll be on a major point-proving buzz until they get into the Super 8s, and it'll continue from there.
You're obviously coming to Abu Dhabi for the inaugural Off the Ball Open. It's from the 17th to the 23rd of November in Abu Dhabi. But next week, you're going to be in Lahinch playing the Pro-Am. Is SHOTCLOCK coming live from Lahinch?
Yeah, SHOTCLOCK coming live from Lahinch next Thursday morning. So looking forward to that. It might be a late night, Wednesday night, depending on how the Pro-Am goes. It can be scary. I'm also playing in the Armada Atlantic Golf Shootout on Tuesday with Evan Talty doing Beg. So that'll be a nice warm-up. Good names down there: Paul O'Connell, Joe Canning, myself, Aidan O'Shea. So that should be a bit of crack.
You're up against Conor Moore. Connor Sketches.
I'm up against Connor Sketches. Yeah, there's
middle of your backswing. He'll be turning into Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I think so. He probably once he doesn't start going slagging me, I don't mind. But it'll be a bit of crack. Yeah, he's talking a bit of smack on Instagram and Twitter, and he's putting up his golf swing. So we got a bit of crack out of that last night, and. No, I'm sure it'll be a very entertaining round with the way he is, because he's a good character. I've been around him a good few times. We went on a night out in Dublin there about a year ago, so he's good fun.
Kieran, good stuff. SHOTCLOCK is in the book. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks, Ger.